Welcome to Kelvin Hall, one of Glasgow's iconic buildings which sits on the corner of Argyle Street and Bunhouse Road in the heart of the West End. The building you see here is actually the second Kelvin Hall. The first one burned down in 1925, and the building that we know today was constructed between 1926 and 1927. Kelvin Hall has had various uses over the years, including being an entertainment venue, sporting arena, and home to Glasgow's annual circus and carnival. Before the Scottish Exhibition Campus was built, it was also the location for large trade fairs and exhibitions. Kelvin Hall has had a long tradition of sporting activity, and today you can still keep fit and active here. There's a range of different facilities, classes and events, including a state-of-the-art gym, a gymnastics hall, a climbing centre and a soft play area for kids. We're now going to take a look at what the other heritage partners at Kelvin Hall have to offer.
Hi, I'm Roisin and I work here at the National Library of Scotland's Access Centre. The moving image and sound collections of the library are housed here at Kelvin Hall, and everyone of all ages is welcome to come and browse over 100 years of Scotland on film on the video wall, on the curated apps and in our discovery space. There's online access to electronic resources and databases, digitised maps and manuscripts, and also electronic copies of every book and journal published in the UK and Ireland after 2013.
Hello, I'm Lee from the Hunterian, the oldest and largest university museum in Scotland, and this is our collection store, home to over 1 million objects. In our state-of-the-art facilities, we have the newest equipment available for research. In our teaching lab, part of the Hunterian Collection Study Centre and one of 3 such spaces, thousands of students, researchers and Hunterian staff study our collections each year.
As well as the offer from the different cultural partners, you will also find the store facility, which houses around 100,000 objects from the Glasgow Museum's collection. This purpose-built facility opened in 2016 and replaced a number of stores and buildings located around Glasgow that were no longer fit for purpose. In here, objects have been carefully packed away in boxes or placed out on open shelving. The temperature and humidity is controlled in the store, so we provide just the right conditions for the objects. Some of the things in here are thousands of years old, so it's important that we look after them. What most people don't realise is that what you see on display in venues such as Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum or the Riverside Museum is just a small proportion of what we actually have in our collection. The majority are safely held in storage here at Kelvin Hall or at our other larger store facility, Glasgow Museum's Resource Centre. However, we aim to make sure they are all still made accessible to the public. Sometimes objects are taken from the store to be used within handling kits, which our learning team and Open Museum team use to allow people to get a hands-on experience. For example, if we open up this kit, it contains a range of interesting things, like this strange-looking contraption. Do you know what it is? Well, it was used to extract teeth. I'm glad my dentist doesn't use one of these. And our museums do change their displays from time to time. So in the future, you might find something that's currently here in the store out on display in the likes of the People's Palace. Our curators also assist people who wish to come into the store to do some research into particular items. The other thing, which is quite unique here in Glasgow, is that the public can come on tours of the store. Some of our furniture collection is stored here. There's quite a range, from school desks and chairs to these replicas of high-back Macintosh chairs which were designed for Miss Cranston's tea rooms. In contrast to the straight lines of these Macintosh designs, we also have the more fun and free designs from the 1950s and 60s. The ball chair was designed in 1963 by Eero Arnio and is considered to be one of the classics of Finnish furniture design. It was once described in 1966 as the most exciting chair in the world. Given that the ball chair was originally designed only a few years after Yuri Gagarin's flight into space, and that it has a somewhat celestial shape, you might think that the space race was Arneo's inspiration for its design. However, Arneo's intention was purely functional. He wanted a simple chair that both he, his wife and his 2 children could sit in. As he was using fiberglass, the sphere was the most practical shape. The ball chair was a room within a room, practically soundproof, and some early models even had a rotary telephone installed inside. American inventor Thomas Edison patented the phonograph in 1878. Phonographs had 2 needles, one for recording and one for playing back sound. The vibrations from speaking or playing music into the phonograph's horn would make indentations with the first needle on a rotating wax cylinder. The second needle would play the sound back by translating the indentations back into vibrations, which could then be heard through the horn. Edison suggested lots of uses for his phonograph, such as letter writing and dictation, phonographic books for blind people, teaching elocution, and music boxes and toys for children. Magic lantern technology has been around since the 1600s and was the earliest form of slide projector. Its name comes from the experiences of early audiences who were amazed at the images appearing on the wall as if by magic. The first magic lanterns used hand-painted glass slides and were illuminated by candles or oil. This wouldn't have given the brightest light, and as a result the projectors could only be used with small audiences. They were used mainly for entertainment and their purpose was to amaze and scare, but they were also used for educational purposes in lectures and museums. Travelling lanternists were common sights in European cities from the mid-1700s. Performances could also contain moving images. Some slides had 2 sheets of glass in them, like this slipper slide of Pinocchio, and by sliding the rear piece of glass, the projected image would appear to move. The invention of limelight in the 19th century meant that a light could be produced that was strong enough to project an image before thousands of people. However, it was dangerous, as it was created by heating a piece of limestone in burning gas until it became incandescent. There were also kerosene lamps that were safer but not as bright, and these were used in schools and churches, and even as children's toys. By the turn of the 20th century, electric illumination was used. Magic lanterns continued to be used until slide projectors came into widespread use in the 1950s. But with the growth of film and television, its popularity had already waned. The oldest things in our store belong to our archaeology collections. Many are small fragments stored in boxes, but this is one of our larger pieces. It's a stone with the cup and ring marks on it and was found above the town of Bowling in West Dunbartonshire. You can see there the round indented cup marks surrounded by the rings. They would have been made somewhere between 3,500 and 5,000 years ago. The markings are a bit of a mystery, but there are a number of theories surrounding their purpose. Bearing in mind that these are normally features in the landscape, it could be that they mark territory or wayfinding. Other theories are that they relate to natural features. In this case, it could have been the River Clyde. Or maybe they were made to commemorate an event or were associated with some sort of ritual behaviour or religious event. Whatever the reason for them, I think the mysterious nature of these markings makes this piece really interesting. The name zoetrope was first patented in America by William F. Lincoln in 1867, but the device was actually invented in 1833 by English mathematician William George Horner, who called it a daedalum. The word zoetrope comes from the Greek words zoe, meaning life, and tropos, meaning to turn. This is why zoetropes are also called a wheel of life. They were popular parlour toys in the Victorian era and were an early animation device. Zoetropes consisted of a rotating drum lined by a band of pictures which would tell a simple story. The illusion of movement was created by viewing the individual images on the band of pictures through the slits in the rotating drum. The basic principles behind the zoetrope were used to create motion pictures, and the looping visual effects created by zoetropes are still used today, for example in creating animated GIFs. For more information on the offers available at Kelvin Hall, please visit our website. We hope you enjoyed your visit behind the scenes today, and we hope to see you in person soon.